Sorry to be a little late here. If possible, takes just a little longer.
Hello.
Ah, okay, I'm here.
Hello, Skip.
Hi, Mary. How are you tonight?
I'm very well.
You look at you.
Hello,
You?
Did,
my dear.
did you have your hair done or something? Looks like
Yeah,
a.
I had it chopped off.
Ah, okay. Um. Oh my gosh. So the title tonight is "Naive Women as Prey." Oh my God. That's maybe we should skip that story. I don't know.
What page are we on?
What?
What
We are
page?
on page 46.
46. Okay.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Um, Sorry to be running so late this evening. Um, it turns out I'm a pickup analyst for all my colleagues now. They want to sit with me and talk, especially at the end of the day. I go, oh my God. Uh,
Did you do
yeah.
your peer
Um,
review, Skip? Did you do the peer review? Did you do use
Yeah, I
that?
did. I did that
Did
last
it go
Friday.
okay?
Yeah, it went all right.
Okay, that's
That I think that went all right. I haven't gotten the official feedback on it yet, but
good. You feel it was okay.
yeah, it was my principal and I are, you know, we would be if it were some other circumstance, we would be friends. So
In cahoots. Mm.
yeah, so should be okay. And honestly, I'm not worried about it because there are not people lining up for my job. And I've taken, I did pass the praxis for special education, but I have failed the reading praxis, which is also required 3 times. And I have a colleague who's got a doctor of education in elementary reading, which is the topic of the praxis, and she has failed it 12 times now, the reading praxis.
Oh my God. Must be rubbish days.
Total rubbish. I'm working up to suing the educational testing service, but I, I think I'm going to wait a while. Okay, so anyway, yeah, but I had my praxis or my observation, and it was sort of fun. I had one student in class, one student, my co-teacher, my principal, and me. So 3 adults, one student, and that was the class. But we did it.
What page was we on? Anyone know the page number for this version?
46.
46.
Yeah, it's should have a also a table of contents
Oh,
entry
okay.
called Naive Women of Prey.
Yeah, got it.
I imagine I'll have something to say about this. Okay, the youngest sister, the most undeveloped sister, plays out the very human story of the naive woman. She will be captured temporarily by her own inner stalker, yet she will out in the end, wiser, stronger, and recognizing the wily predator of her own psyche on sight. Um, the psychological story underlying the tale also applies to the older woman who has not yet completely learned to recognize the innate predator. Perhaps she has begun to process over and over again, but lacking guidance and support has not yet finished with it. This is why teaching stories are so nourishing. So here's Penelope. Okay, I am very briefly into it, Penelope, but since you just arrived, I think I should start again, and I'm going to do that. We are on page 46. How are you? Are you okay? Penelope?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm tired today, so I'm
Oh.
going to be in the background.
Okay, but
How are you?
We're fine.
You're on chapter 2.
I guess so. As a chapter 2, I don't know. It's naive women of prey, and I thought that could be, yeah, chapter 2. You can resonate with it somewhat. So let me start again.
Okie dokie.
Okay, the youngest sister, the most undeveloped sister, plays out the very human story of the naive woman. She will be captured temporarily by her own inner stalker, yet she will out in the end, wiser, stronger, and recognizing the wily predator of her own psyche on sight. The psychological story underlying the tale also applies to the older woman who has not yet completely learned to recognize the innate predator. Perhaps she has begun the process over and over again, but lacking guidance and support, has not yet finished with it. This is why teaching stories are so nourishing. They provide initiatory maps. So even work which has hit a snag, can be completed. The Bluebeard story is usable by all women, regardless of whether they are very young or just learning about the predator, or whether they have been hounded and harassed by it for decades and are at last readying for a final and decisive battle with it. The youngest sister represents a creative potential within the psyche, a something that is going toward exuberant and fissioning life, but which is a detour as she agrees to become the prize of a vicious man because her instinct to notice and do otherwise are not intact. Psychologically, young girls and young boys are as though asleep about the fact that they themselves are prey, although sometimes it seems life would be much easier and much less painful if all humans were born totally awake. They are not. We are all born Anglican, like the potential at the center of a cell. In biology, the analog is the part of the cell characterized as that which will become. Within the analog is the primal substance, which in time will develop, causing us to become a complete someone. So our lives as women are ones of quickening and analoga. The Bluebeard tale speaks to the awakening and education of this psychic center, this glowing cell. It's in service to this education. The youngest sister agrees to marry a force which she believes to be very elegant. The fairy tale marriage represents a new status being sought, a new layer on this of the psyche about to be unfurled. However, the young wife has fooled herself. Initially, she felt fearful of Bluebeard. She was wary. However, a little pleasure out in the woods causes her to override her intuition. Almost all women have had this experience at least once. As a result, she persuades herself that Bluebeard is not dangerous, but only idiosyncratic and eccentric. Oh, how silly. Why am I so put off by that little old Bluebeard? Her wildish nature, however, has already sniffed out the situation and knows the blue-bearded man is lethal. But the naive psyche disallows this inner knowing. This error of judgment is almost routine in a woman so young that her alarm systems are not yet developed. She is like an orphan wolf pup who rolls and plays in the clearing, heedless of the 90-pound bobcat approaching from the shadows. In the case of the older woman, who is so cut away from the wild that she can barely hear the inner warnings, she too proceeds smiling naively. You might well wonder if all this could be avoided. As in the animal world, a young girl learns to see the predator via her mother's and father's teachings. Without parents' loving guidance, she will certainly be prey early on. In hindsight, almost all of us have at least once experienced a compelling idea or semi-dazzling person crawling in through our windows at night and catching us off guard. Even though they're wearing a ski mask, have a little knife between their teeth and a sack of money slung over their shoulder, we believe them when they tell us that they're in the banking business. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop there for a moment. Anybody recognize this experience?
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh gosh.
Yes, I do quite deeply that story, and I've got an image to show you, maybe
Oh.
not right now, where I incorporated Bluebeard without actually
Mm.
knowing who he was.
Hmm. Okay, we'll look forward to seeing that.
Yeah. So I think all women have some sort of assault on them. I don't think there are any women who don't. I don't know if I've lost you.
Well, no, you haven't lost us.
Everybody's frozen.
Well,
So what can you all now you're not frozen.
okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so the thing is, yes, I think all women have some not all women, but I think many women have been violated or maybe had men push themselves upon them. I think it's difficult for men because men are very sexual creatures, like, and if a man can't have a woman easily, then I think he will try and force himself upon her. I'm not saying all men, but I was thinking about that today when I thought, they're in a bit of a dilemma. And particularly now where young people are not, there's a lot less sex being had and a lot less drinking going on in the younger generations at the moment.
really?
Yeah. They're not buying alcohol and they're not having sex.
No, they're buying marijuana in this country. They're buying marijuana.
Yeah.
Not buying alcohol anymore. Heck with that.
They can't afford it probably. I don't know how people can afford to drink now. But anyway. So yeah, so I think I don't know what other women think. I don't know if Bluebeard is a sort of character that maybe is a bit of a narcissistic type personality, and he thinks he wants what he wants, and he'll go about any way of getting it.
Well, I have two sides of the story, of course.
Okay.
But I'll hear others first. Um, Well, I'll first tell the story of my sister. My
Okay.
sister grew up in the Navy, so she was born in the Mojave Desert of California. Her babyhood was in Kodiak, Alaska. Then we lived on a fruit farm for 3 years. And then we lived on our family farm for a year while my father was at sea. And then we lived in the South in Norfolk, Virginia. And I mean, during her lifetime, I'm talking about. And then we lived this plain suburbia life for 3.5 years in the Philadelphia area, in the suburbs. It was a pure suburbia life for 3.5 years. And then we went to Japan. And so my sister was in the 5th grade when we went to Japan. And 2.5 years into that, I left for college. And a year later, my parents came back from Japan. And my parents, what they wanted was to live by a lake. And so my father had gotten stationed in Columbus, Ohio, and outside of Columbus to the east, 40 miles, is a place called Buckeye Lake, which is a man-made lake made with a dam. It's a beautiful little lake, and there are a lot of houses around it. And my parents could afford to rent one of these houses while my father was stationed in Columbus. However, the high school that my sister had to go to, most of the kids had never been out of the county or even the town. They had never traveled at all. And then my father retired and took a job in the small town in Michigan called Olivet, south of Lansing. And my sister by then was a junior in high school. She was fed up with the small town life. She'd lived in Japan. She'd ridden in the Imperial Palace horse show, for example, in front of the emperor. So it was all a big deal when she was like in her middle school age. And the school had a rule that her skirt had to go below her knees. And I think a lot of women have had that experience. Certainly in the United States, the rule that was in the U.S. in those days was your skirt had to be below your knees. And so my sister my sister got sent home because her skirt was too short one day. And she was really furious. So she went home to change her skirt. And instead of putting on just any skirt, she wore a full-length evening gown and came back to high school. And her school then expelled her for sass. Expelled her. They suspended her for sass. And she only needed 1 credit to graduate from high school. So she conned my father into letting her take typing over the summer between her junior and senior year. And then she would get her last credit and she would have a high school diploma. And then instead of going to her senior year of high school, she would go to the UK and go to a professional writing academy. She had identified a couple of professional writing academies in the UK, and they agreed to accept my sister as a student. That was all well and good. Okay, but this was the time of the Vietnam War, and it was the summer of '68, and we had a lot of demonstrations going on, both um, in the civil rights movement, but also the anti-war movement. I had joined the Marine Corps and was a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps, and I was at the basic school in my infantry training at the time. And my father had got her a chartered flight to the UK out of Toronto as the cheapest way to fly from the UK, from Central America, I mean, Middle America to London. So he had a deal that he would go and put her on this private or chartered flight to London. It was filled with people, of course, but so the idea was my father would drop her off in Toronto, and he did. He put her on the airplane. Those were in the days when you could still go to the gate with a loved one and see them off. And so my sister was 17 years old. And my father has an arrangement with the school to meet her at the other end. Okay. And so he puts her on the airplane, and 2 days later, the school sends a telegram saying, well, we met the airplane and your daughter wasn't on it. Well, my father knew damn well she had been on it because he had put her on it, and it was a nonstop flight. And so during the course of that flight, she had met a fellow from London, from Soho in London, who happened to be a journeyman carpenter, but he and I should add to this that my sister was furious. This was August of 1968. My sister was furious with the government because of the Vietnam War. And there had been the protests at the Chicago Convention for the Democratic Party in Chicago that year, in that August, just a week or two before this happened. And so she was all pumped up because of that. She meets this guy on the airplane, and she literally disappeared for a month. Okay, she just disappeared. And my father had to get Office of Naval Intelligence after her. She refused to come home, but she only had a 6-month visa, and which they, in those days, UK would give people a 6-month visa on landing. So she had a 6-month visa, and in the course of the next 4 or 5 months, she conned my father into letting her marry this guy who she'd met on the airplane. Okay, speaking of Bluebeard, he didn't have a Bluebeard. He had a long, very full red beard. He looked like Jesus Christ, a very long red hair. And my grandmother went over to London to be present for the wedding and so on. And then at the end of the 6 months, my sister says, well, I have to come back now because my visa's no good, and I want to bring Eddie with me. So she brings Eddie back to the small town in Olivet, Michigan. And this guy comes in, and he looks like a real hippie. And he was a journeyman carpenter, but he didn't want to take on any work. And after he'd been at my father's house for about 6 months, my father started to ask him to go help neighbors who would have a broken fence or needed to have a door rehung or something like that. And he got fed up with that, being asked to do stuff around the house, and he left. He got on an airplane and left. And so here's my sister, now 18 years old, having been married. The husband is gone. She's not pregnant. She wasn't pregnant, but anyway, she ended up getting that marriage annulled. So there's Bluebeard number one. So then my sister was good at wheedling things out of my father. So he wanted to buy a piece of land in Michigan. So he bought 40 acres near Olivet, Michigan. My sister put a small trailer on that land and bought 4 horses. And so then the next thing that happens is that the 4 horses need a vet. And so the vet starts coming around, and lo and behold, he gets interested in my sister. My sister gets interested in him. And he was a large animal vet, and he was a large animal in person. And she marries him. And so now she's on her second marriage, and she's like 19. Well, that marriage lasted 5 years, and in that time, my sister found out that she was eligible for Mensa. And meanwhile, my brother-in-law of that time, this second marriage, was interested in dirt bikes. And so he wants to go out to all these rallies for dirt bikes. And my sister didn't like the girls that hung around dirt bikers. She was a snob. And so anyway, one thing led to another, and she divorces him. And then, so I have a lot of experience with my sister. Anybody else want to talk now? That's a long story.
Has Azim gone?
Hmm?
Azim left. Azim left.
Yeah, Azim, I guess, probably has heard it all. She's a analyst like Angie is. And Angie, this might be too much.
I'm
too
not an
much.
analyst. I'm a human being.
But I mean, but this is the type of thing that happens anyway. She ends up in
About Bluebeard, and I think that's interesting. That's what we're talking about. You're
yeah.
telling us about experiences with Bluebeard. It's good to listen to that.
Well, and I can talk about it from my side too, but not with my sister, but my own experiences. But my sister ended up in a third marriage, also lasted 5 years, and then that failed. So she ended up living with my parents for the last 30 years of their lives and taking over the household. And my mother got very sort of jealous because my sister, in effect, took on the role of wife in the household. And my mother sort of was odd person out in that deal. And I mean, she lived there with them, but there was this closeness between my father, who was in his, old age deal like Elijah and Salome, but Salome in this case was his own daughter, my father's daughter, my sister. I mean, there wasn't anything sexual about this at all, but and I don't know, about that time she ended up getting a hysterectomy, so that was that. But now she's 5 years younger than me, and for the last 2 years at least, well, about the last 4 years, she's been in senior living. And she's 74, I guess now. I went and saw her last Christmas time, and she was a cuckoo clock. I mean, she was living in a dream world, and so she'll live in that home for the rest of her life. And
Doesn't it say here something about the naive, that this happens a few times
yeah,
to young women, and if they're not woken up by the shock of it, they can stay in that kind of state.
Well, I think, to Mary as well, coming from trauma from a father, I can say that, it was normalized for me to be abused. So I didn't actually know the word no until I got into my 20s. I didn't understand that you were allowed to tell men to go do one. So that's very sad that if a parenting is tragic and girls are not loved by the father appropriately, it can really play out in life. And some women, will end up pregnant or on drugs or all sorts of things. That
well,
happens
my
anyway
sister
without.
was certainly loved by her father.
Yeah, I think the Bluebird thing, if you go into it, he's quite a bit of a nasty character. So I think that
Right.
a lot of relationships go, we have interactions with people that are, the story will speak for itself, I think. I don't know what page we were on.
Well,
I've got
we're
my
now on page 48. Shall we
48.
shall we continue?
Yeah.
Yes.
All
Can
right.
I just
Naive women as
something?
prey.
Can I
Huh?
just chuck something out there? Because this is what I was thinking about this week. I've read this Bluebeard before, and I'm always thinking about it as Bluebeard being out there, like in the world, some
Mm,
that my eyes are not open, I don't see them,
yeah.
and my naivety. But there's another layer here. When I was reading it, she was talking about our internal predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how in life sometimes you have a dream, like a fantasy, and someone will come along. It's not real, but you want this dream life. That
Yeah.
life is hard, but we change reality in some way. And for me, I think I haven't quite understood it, but I think that's where Bluebeard's going. It's more about my own vulnerability. Bluebeard's always going to be out in that world.
And
Right.
in our
And
inner
and
world.
he's attractive. Okay, he's attractive. He's a wealthy man. He has a castle.
But it is
Right.
fantasy, and I think that what I've learned, is that what I think a lot of people with relationship, it's almost like it's a prize, and that real relationship
Mm.
is quite rare. That people get into relationships desiring the fantasy of it,
And
and
there's
that
things about the person that you can't ask.
yeah,
Yeah.
You get a feeling, you think, oh, there's something not right, but I can't ask that question, you know, uh,
yeah,
and that can continue for a long time. And that's when the fantasy starts to come in then because it's not real, is it?
no, and that can go on for
Well,
years with many
it's a
people.
projection of something that you think you want. Okay. In other words, in a story, the girl wants to be married to the wealthy man in the big house, right? And that's how she gets sucked in. And and so it's a projection,
Yeah.
right? And it happens the other way around. Okay. In other words, for me, I always had a girlfriend from the time I was 5 years old. Okay. Long before I reached puberty. I mean, I still remember the name of two girlfriends I had between second and fourth grade. Okay. In second grade, I was in love with Sharon McEmber, and because she had long, dark hair, something like Merritt's today, or not quite like Angie, but I mean, long hair like that. This girl had darker hair than Angie's hair, but more like Penelope, I suppose. And that long dark hair was always my weakness. Okay. And from the time I was about 5 years old on, and I always wanted to marry this girlfriend, even though I was 5 years old. And my, actual high school girlfriends met that pattern. And so I wanted to be with that person. I didn't know what being with that person meant at that time, but nonetheless, I did. My mother said I was 40 when I was born, so maybe that was my innate Bluebeard coming through. But it didn't, I now know it was a projection of my own psyche, right? Because it applied to all these different girls that I met in different places as my family moved around the world. And
Well, I think it's the point of her. I mean, it's always both inner and outer, but we usually see the outer and we're unaware, unconscious of what's going on inside of us. So that is naivete.
right.
And if we don't, as Mary was saying, if we don't get shocked out of it, we do it all of our life.
Right.
And if we never look back on ourselves and ask what about us is causing this.
And society makes
Yes, and
guardrails.
society
Right.
is also, especially in the case of women, well, men too.
Well, men too,
But
because
I did say women. I said
Yeah.
women, but in men too. But
Yeah.
in women, it's going to say here in another few paragraphs.
Okay.
Talk about this.
All right, so we can read on.
Just one thing. I feel that today is like we project something on the other person, something that we have and we can provide that to ourselves, but we think
Yes,
that the other one, we don't have it. So
that's
the
right.
other one should provide for us. But
Absolutely.
we project because we already have this inside of us in our unconscious, and we are able to provide that safety or anything to ourselves and not the other. And it's interesting that it's happening to a dear friend of mine who is a little bit older than me, but we reconnected since 2022, and she recently fell for a Bluebeard, a real one, an exterior Bluebeard because of her inner Bluebeard. And she is completely unaware because she didn't know anything about him, but she created a fantasy about him based on some kind gestures that he some attention that he paid to her and her daughter. And she has built a whole story. She has no idea about if he fits that story. It's all her imagination.
Yeah.
I see that, and she is seeing that now. And it's interesting because I feel like she is me in 2015. Something similar happened to me 10 years ago. And I see that the older, she's older, but she is the youngest sister right now. And that's good because it helped her finally start her analysis, her therapy, because of that, because it was so painful to her to be aware of that she was so blindly believing that that guy was what she thought, and I saw it that he wasn't, and she took a while to see what I saw, and she was in shock because why in this point of my life I would fall so blindly for someone that I didn't even know anything about.
You know, Matt, also this can be seen in astrology, very interestingly with the placement of planets and where they are sitting in our chart as we are going through things like the development and how it's not particularly an age thing. I've got a girlfriend who's 53 now who's just started something like a fantasy, and it's interesting watching this play out. And you know there will be a fall eventually, like your friend, where you have to go have some sort of therapy and start working on yourself, that what we seek is not outside ourselves, it's inwardly.
Yes, and it's so interesting how she was filling all of the blank spaces that she didn't know about him with her imagination, with her qualities. She had no idea with her qualities, with the things that I know she is perfectly capable of providing for herself and for her daughter. That's it's interesting.
I'll show you my bluebird in a while. Should we read some more?
Yeah. Let's read on. Okay. However, even with wise mothering and fathering, the young female.
What page? I'm sorry. What
Page 48.
Okay.
Page
Is this
48.
the beginning of a paragraph?
Yeah. However, begins with however. Top of the page 48.
However.
Okay. However, even with wise mothering and fathering, the young female may, especially beginning about 12, be seduced away from her own truth by peer groups, cultural forces, or psychic pressures, and so begins a rather reckless risk-taking in order to find out for herself. When I work with older teenage girls who are convinced that the world is good if they only work it right, it always makes me feel like an old gray-haired dog. I want to put my paws over my eyes and groan, for I see what they do not see, and I know, especially if they're willful and feisty, that they're going to insist on becoming involved with the predator at least once before they are shocked awake. At the beginning of our lives, our feminine viewpoint is very naive, meaning that emotional understanding of the covert is very faint. But this is where we all begin as females. We are naive and we talk ourselves into some very confusing situations. To be uninitiated in the ways of these matters means that we are in a time of our life when we are vulnerable to seeing only the overt. Among wolves, when the bitch leaves her pups to go hunting, the young ones try to follow her out of the den and down the path. She snarls at them, lunges at them, and scares the bejesus out of them till they run slipping and sliding back to the den. Their mother knows her pups don't yet know how to weigh and assess other creatures. They don't know who is a predator and who is not. But in time, she will teach them, both harshly and well. Like wolf pups, women need a similar initiation, one which teaches that the inner and outer worlds are not always happy-go-lucky places. Many women do not even have the basic teaching about predators that a wolf mother gives her pups, such as if it's threatening and bigger than you, flee. If it's weaker, see what you want to do. If it's sick, leave it alone. If it has quills, poison, fangs, or razor claws, back up and go on the other direction. If it smells nice but is wrapped around metal jaws, walk on by. The youngest sister is in the story is not only naive about her own mental processes and totally ignorant about the murdering aspect of her own psyche, but is also able to be lured by pleasures of the ego. And why not? We all want everything to be wonderful. Every woman wants to sit upon a horse dressed in bells and go riding off through the boundless green and sensual forest. All humans want to attain early paradise here on earth. The problem is that ego desires to feel wonderful, but a yen for the paradisical, when combined with naivete, makes us not fulfilled, but food for the predator. This acquiescence to marry the monster is actually described when girls are very young, usually before 5 years old, or decided when girls are very young, usually before 5 years old. They are taught to not see and instead to make pretty all manner of grotesqueries, whether they are lovely or not. This training is why the youngest sister can say, his beard isn't really that blue. This early training to be nice causes women to override their intuitions. In that sense, they are actually purposefully taught to submit to the predator. Imagine a wolf mother teaching her young to be nice in the face of an angry ferret or a wily diamondback rattler. In the tale, even the mother colludes. She goes on the picnic, goes along with the ride. She doesn't say a word of caution to any of her daughters. One might say that the biological mother or the internal mother is asleep or naive herself, as is often the case in very young girls or in unmothered women. Interestingly, in the tale, the older sisters demonstrate some consciousness when they say they do not like Bluebeard, even though he has just entertained and regaled them in a very romantic and paradisical manner. This is a sense in the story that some aspects of the psyche represented by the older sisters are a little more developed in insight, that they have knowing, which warns against romanticizing the predator. The initiated woman pays attention to the older sisters' voices in the psyche. They warn her away from danger. The uninitiated woman does not pay attention. She is as yet too identified with naivete. Say, for instance, a naive woman keeps making poor choices in a mate. Somewhere in her mind, she knows this pattern is fruitless, that she should stop and follow a different value. She often even knows how to proceed. but there's something compelling, a sort of Bluebeardian mesmerization about continuing the destructive pattern. In most cases, the woman feels if she just holds on to the old pattern a little longer, why surely the paradisical situation she seeks will appear in the next heartbeat. At another extreme, a woman involved in a chemical addiction most definitely has at the back of her mind a set of older sisters who are saying, no way, this is bad for the mind and bad for the body. We refuse to continue. But the desire to find paradise draws the woman into the marriage of Bluebeard, the drug dealer of psychic highs. Whatever dilemma a woman finds herself in, the voices of the older sisters in her psyche continue to urge her to consciousness and to be wise in her choices. They represent those voices in the back of the mind that whisper the truths that a woman may wish to avoid, for they end her fantasy of paradise found. So the faithful marriage occurs, the mingling of sweetly naive and dastardly unlit. When Bluebeard leaves on his journey, the young woman does not realize that even though she is exhorted to do anything she wishes, except one thing, she is living less rather than living more. Many women have literally lived the Bluebeard tale. They marry while they are yet naive about predators, and they choose someone who is destructive to their lives. They are determined to cure that person with love. They are in some way playing house. One could say they have spent much time saying, his beard isn't really so blue. Eventually, a woman thus captured will see her hopes for a decent life for herself and her children diminish more and more. It is to be hoped that she will finally open the door to the room where all the destruction of her life lies. While it may be the woman's actual mate who denigrates and dismantles her life, the innate predator within her own psyche concurs. As long as a woman is forced into believing she is powerless and or is trained to not consciously register what she knows to be true, the feminine impulses and the gifts of her psyche continue to be killed off. When the youthful spirit marries the predator, she is captured by or restrained during a time in her life that was meant to be an unfoldment. Instead of living freely, she begins to live falsely. The deceitful promise of the predator is that the woman will become a queen in some way, when in fact her murder is being planned. There is a way out of all this, but one must have a key. Okay, so that's the end of that part of the story anyway. Comments?
I think we've already talked about most of this.
Yeah, maybe.
Can you see my bluebeard?
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
You see him down there?
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Wow.
this is my mother. That one thing there is my mother in yellow, and above is my father.
Mm.
And I did a Rubik cube, which I thought was interesting because if we consider what a Rubik cube is trying to work something out. And then the snake with the big mouth, shocked, and Bluebeard down there. And this is me up here
Oh boy.
in the little me with a flower and flowers all around me.
Yeah.
and then an elephant in the room there, the elephant.
Mhm.
It's interesting, isn't it? That was the
Yeah.
first one I did after, this is before I got the watercolors skip. So when I came home after Mount Madonna in 2023, it was November.
Mhm.
And then I did this in February 2024. And then I got the watercolors. So it's interesting.
It is interesting. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
You know what, Penelope? It's a funny thing because as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing like a great big face as well with that blue triangle beard. It's almost like an introject of that blue beard.
Here. And the
Yeah,
with the it's yeah.
it's like that thing that you don't look at. You carry it around with yourself. It's like the blood dripping on the key, you know?
Up here. Oh, the
So
blood dripping
that
on
big, so
the
there's
key
great,
of the bluebird key.
yeah, so you got the blue beard on your little blue beard man down there, but also
He's
there's
got
that
an axe. Can you
key.
see? He's got a
Oh,
little axe.
yeah, and see the blood around it as well, the red.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that. That's
It's
interesting.
like surrounded by
I was
blood.
aware of what was going on.
Gosh, there's a lot in that, isn't there?
And this is
And
Penelope,
and little you are in, it's like an eye, an angry eye.
here.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
In my
Uh,
protection.
how much,
Anyway,
how
No,
much, how much of this were
no,
you really consciously working out as you painted it?
I don't really think I was. I was just, I don't know what I was thinking. I just
Huh,
began. I
you
didn't
know,
plan it. I just
huh.
put,
Penelope, in the middle of it where the elephant is, there looks
yeah.
to be like a windmill,
Yeah, I saw the
Yes.
women.
right? And but there's one that is a different color pointing to the center of it.
Hmm.
You see where the
Oh,
windmill is,
Yeah.
yeah.
right? So there's blue with a white, it's in a triangle, but then you can see three, four slats of the windmill,
Yeah.
and it's almost like the cursor is going straight to the center.
Mm.
See there?
Another Bluebeard.
Mm.
Okay.
Well,
Oh,
and plus there's somebody swimming in that blue beard,
Yeah.
right?
oh,
Mm.
Penelope.
yeah.
Penelope.
So that was interesting. So I'll stop
There's a,
share now.
it's a person from behind, not the elephant, but right there where your pointer was.
Cursors.
Down below, there's
Down
Yeah,
a,
see
here.
you see the head and the arms?
yeah,
Yeah, I can see
there's
that.
two arms, and one arm's holding a flower, and the other arm is not clear.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's like it's trying to get out of
It's
Yeah.
like
the
they're trying to save themselves from deep water.
yes.
Yeah.
The
Very
windmills
interesting.
apparently
So
way right in
anyway,
the middle, that windmill. And I was thinking of like Don Quixote. And
Yes. Me too.
did you think of that? Yeah, as soon as I
Yes.
saw it, and I thought it's right in the middle. It's like
A
that
fantasy. It's a fantasy.
fantasy. It's a fantasy, and the battle, like the yeah, it's a
yeah.
fascinating picture.
I'll stop share now.
Sorry, it's just so
Yeah,
much.
so that's interesting.
That is
So
an
that was very
amazing painting.
therapeutic of me to draw my mother like that and father, but I didn't know I was doing that. I didn't set out to do that. I was just put my pen, my colors to paper, and that's what happened.
Well,
So there
you
you go.
should
Some bluebirds
you
there.
should keep doing that because you've got a real
Bluebird.
talent there. That
Bluebird.
that was amazing.
We're all getting there. Mertz is doing
Mm.
some lovely art. She was sending me some. Weren't you, Mertz?
Yeah.
Mertz.
Yes, but I need to do that more. I different from Skip. I can't do that in the morning, and I work in the afternoons,
You're
and
working a lot.
I arrive home exhausted,
Yeah.
and I can and I can I look at my drawing, he's looking back at me. I look at him and I say, I'm sorry. I can't tonight, maybe tomorrow. And in the weekends, I have to clean the house and wash the clothes, and at night I am exhausted again. And I say, oh my God, when will I do that? I want to draw and paint, but I need to make time for that.
You will
And
get the time.
later in the book, she says something about this, that I'm saying that I don't have time.
Yeah, it will.
Yes. I need to make time.
Yeah, that's a
You will
pattern
when you're
you have to
ready.
change.
You will when you're ready.
Yeah, one of the lines in the movie Frida is Frida's talking to Diego, her husband, and he's an established painter. And she says, I want to know whether I'm a painter or not, or an artist. And Diego says, if you're an artist, you will be forced to paint. You will not be able to stop. Just keep doing it. And what I've been impressed with Penelope since we had the confluence in California is that she has been painting
Make me laugh.
regularly.
I have.
And
It's a good addiction. It's better than some of the other addictions I've had, that's for sure.
I agree.
And Meritz, I think you need to get the little pilot light going in yours because, for me, also from California, and even from before, because I was talking to Colleen before the California confluence. Once I knew that Colleen's technique, I have not been able to stop either. And I can't even leave the house unless I paint for at least 15 minutes. I just don't feel right about leaving the house unless I've made some small contribution to the painting.
But is that go on?
Well,
Go on.
and so I mean, I just decided I was going to get up earlier than I otherwise would need to in order to paint, at least for 15 minutes. And once I got started on it for a week or two, then I haven't been able to stop. And if I don't have an appointment, if I don't have to go to school, if it's a weekend, I can easily sit there for 3 hours and keep painting. But I mean, there's a limit. There's a physical limit to how much I can paint in a day. But it's between 2 and 3 hours, and then I have to stop. Go ahead.
I also think different times in our lives, like I'm coming up to my 60th next year, and I'm enjoying this period of slowing down.
Yeah,
a bit.
That would be another time to do it.
Yeah.
But I just remembered something that writing is very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been feeling this itch for writing a long time. And I was very sad because I wasn't doing my writing as much as I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I have found an interesting solution for that.
Which
I'm
is?
I'm taking my personal computer to work. Most part of the year, it's not there's not much work to do in my place. So I decided that I am being paid for writing for my employee my work that is not on writing as much as I can. So somehow I managed to write every day a little bit.
That's
so
what
it's
it doesn't have to be painting. That's definitely true. So
yes, because
writing
it's not
counts.
and it's not I'm trying to write fiction, so it is about being creative and painting, but with words.
Yeah, absolutely. And
That's fantastic. And Diane writes as well, don't you, Diane? You're writing the piece you're writing at the moment. Diane's
Yes, yes,
writing,
yes.
which we will all get to read shortly.
is it a
I've
novel?
read it. The Verdio.
The Verido. The Verido.
Verdio.
Oh, it's about the confluence skip and
Oh, really?
the precognitive dream I had about the confluence.
Hmm.
And it's an active imagination
Sure.
as well, all of those things. So, but currently I've been writing some poetry. So, yeah. And I've written a novel. I gave you a copy, Skip, of my novel.
Oh,
Where Dreams Coincide is the name of it.
Where Dreams Coincide. How long ago did you give it to me? I'm
At the first confluence.
at the first confluence.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That precognitive dream was about the first confluence. But the novel I wrote 15 years before.
Okay.
And I'm at chapter 5, and Diane knows because she sent it to
I
me.
know where to look, Diane, because I never throw anything away.
And what was I going to say? So in that novel, I work out this whole. I worked that out, Mertz, what you were talking about, how that inner animus is in us, and that's what it's all about. And unfortunately, my daughter didn't get it. She didn't finish reading it.
No.
So I was looking at the last 3 sections at the last 2 pages of this, where it talks about, first of all, it says, say, for instance, a naive woman keeps making poor choices in a mate. Somewhere in her mind, she knows this pattern is fruitless, that she should stop and follow a different value. She often knows how to proceed, but there is something compelling her of Bluebeardian mesmerism about continuing the destructive past pattern. In most cases, the woman feels if she just holds on the old pattern a little longer, holding on to the old pattern a little longer, why surely the paradisical feeling she seeks will appear in the next heartbeat. So I've seen this happen. I've had some experience with this too. And then there's these 3 different types, I think. Usually there's a combination here. The next one talks about, at another extreme, a woman involved in a chemical addiction most definitely has at the back of her mind a set of her older sisters who are saying, no, no way, this is bad for the mind and bad for the body. We refuse to continue. But the desire to find paradise draws the woman into the marriage to Bluebeard, the drug dealer of psychic highs. And that those sisters are also internal voices, personalities in the person. And then the final one here is, let's see, eventually the fateful marriage occurs. And I'll skip to the next paragraph. Eventually, a woman thus captured will see her hopes for a decent life for herself and her children diminish more and more. It is to be hoped that she will finally open the door to the room where all the destruction of her life lies. While it may be the woman's actual mate that denigrates and dismantles her life, the innate predator within her own psychic concurs. As long as a woman is forced into believing she is powerless and or trained to not consciously register what she knows to be true. The feminine uh, impulses and gifts of her psyche continue to be killed off. So it's, part of it is the way we are raised in society as well.
Definitely, definitely.
And it's hard to, they say that as a young child, you're the basis for the rest of your life has been being set. So it's very difficult to overcome those younger years,
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other one I was going to say is always trying to fix the other person. That you're going to fix your mate, and it's all going to be better. You're going to do it with love, right? So I've had experiences with all of those things.
Yeah.
I can really relate to him. That idea that if you're a good girl and you just keep on being good, everything will be okay.
Yes.
I'm sure you see that often.
And like in Penelope's case, I think it kept her blinded to what was going on because she didn't have that to know that this was not normal.
Yeah.
And her mother didn't teach her that.
And
her
when
mother
is engaging in the deception as well.
Yes, absolutely.
The mother is the most important. Listening to the guy I follow on psychology and narcissism, and the mother is the most important thing for the baby in the first couple of years because of that nurturing, and then the mother teaches the child, pushes the child away, not pushes it away in a healthy way, and allows it to come back, so it knows that they have a self. And then father gets involved. But if it's an unhealthy, I mean, it's going to be, I think my book will be fascinating. Hopefully, I think clinicians will buy it, I hope, because I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding when you suffer the consequences of parental behavior like that. There's a lot of suffering that I think a lot of people don't make it through. I think personally, I think I'm a miracle. Like, I'm not saying other people haven't had it bad. I know that people have all sorts of things, but it's the complex trauma it's hardcore, and it's easy to just stay disassociated all of your life and then just die,
Yeah.
and not live. So the imagination, the Donald Cowshed book,
So then you become one of those slaughtered women behind the door.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's it. Yeah.
Women do. And I'm sure, Angie, you probably working in the field come across this as well. Would you come across?
Gosh. And
Mary?
women having to get by, carrying that, like especially a father making their daughter getting pregnant.
Yeah, I'm so lucky that never happened to me, thank God.
And
died,
there's carrying the shame in a community because, they're a child like 12, 13, and they've got pregnant, and they're carrying the shame for that because everybody in the community is pointing at them and it's their father's child.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, in the United States, it's become legal, to prevent abortion in that case.
Yeah.
And that's being enforced by the patriarchy.
Men make the choice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Men making that choice. That's what I get really angry about.
Yes.
Not even women that are making the choice.
Well, our society is going to change it very soon. And the reason is I heard this morning on NPR that Iowa cannot keep enough obstetricians. Women, especially women who are, completing their education as obstetricians and pediatricians, but especially obstetricians who are not able to terminate a pregnancy, even to save a woman. I mean, the blood count has to be so low, or the woman has to be almost dead before they're allowed to abort a pregnancy in Iowa. And so the result is they're just, all the OBGYNs are leaving. And and that has the unintended consequence. Obviously, the holy rollers who didn't want to have abortion didn't consider that consequence of their action. But you have to let doctors be doctors.
So, in Southern Ireland, Mary, you can probably talk about this.
Mm.
If a woman is dying, giving birth, they have to prioritise the birth of the child, don't they? And they have to let them
Yeah.
die.
Well, that was up until
True.
about 3 years ago.
Yeah,
But the
that,
law has changed now in the
have they
south of
changed it?
Ireland.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mary, did you
And
say 3 years? 3 years ago.
I
yeah,
think maybe it was 5 years ago.
It
yeah.
was,
But
do you remember that Indian woman that died? It was
yeah,
over that Indian
in
woman. They had
Galway,
to let
she
the
was,
Indian woman die, didn't they?
yeah, she had an ectopic pregnancy and they
Yeah,
let her die
yeah,
rather than save her.
yeah.
And then
Save
all
the
the
baby.
women came out on the street in Southern Ireland. There was demonstrations all over the country. And the Catherine Connolly, who's just become president, she was one of the women in the forefront of it all who actually brought this change. And so they changed the law. There was a referendum and it was
Yeah.
completely changed.
Mhm.
Crazy that that's only just.
Yeah. I mean,
Completely.
so one of the lessons of the Red Book was that we don't learn anything without blood. Okay, there will be blood.
Yeah.
And human beings as a species don't learn anything unless there's death and blood. And the Red Book says that very clearly, leading up to World War One. And so,
Interesting. In Northern Ireland, it hasn't happened, right? They
yeah,
don't have the same legislation in the north. The women are still fighting for it there because of the Protestants, right?
They haven't changed
In
it there,
fact,
there in Northern Ireland.
no,
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 this is the
because it's run by
fundamentalists.
Stormont.
Gosh.
Stormont is part of the UK,
Yeah, so this
even
is
though
the
um,
fundamentalist Protestants who want that.
mm,
And here
I mean,
it is mostly, well, the Catholics, of course, don't want any abortion, but the Catholics changed in Ireland. And
yeah, they did, but and they're being very clever politically as well, because what they do, Mary Lou MacDonald, who's she's the representation of Sinn Féin,
uh-huh,
which comes from the Republic,
yeah,
and they did a deal with Catherine Connolly so as that she would become president. She would use the issues of Sinn Féin in order to highlight that, because the North, they tried to put in somebody from the Orange Order, the Ulster Unionists, to stand to be president in the South. I mean, how outrageous is that? You
mhm.
know? But she got, I think, less than 400,000 votes. So you can see, the whole country was behind. If there's a shift in Ireland going on to do with women's rights and being heard and their voice
Bravo.
at last, which is wonderful, you know,
They've had to have
Well,
it
because
bad for that to happen. It's because
mm,
they've had it so bad. They've
mm,
had it
yeah,
so bad, you know?
that's right.
mm,
I mean, this is why I haven't been able to get too upset about having our current administration in the United States, because they're doing things that are so bad that ultimately it's going to take a couple of generations. They won't be elected for a couple of generations. It happened before. It happened back in the Great Depression when Herbert Hoover was a Republican and he crashed the economy. And so the Republicans didn't get back in office for 20 years, from 1932 to 1952. And the only way they got back in was because of Dwight Eisenhower, who was sort of a on again, off again Republican. So it wasn't, let's see, what, Eisenhower, then Kennedy, then Lyndon. So it wasn't until 1968, it was 38 years later before a real Republican was elected from the time of the Great Depression. Mm-hmm. So because Hoover had been so awful, and so I'm expecting that to happen again. I mean, I know that we're going through a very bad time right now, and there are a lot of women dying, and I'm sorry for that, but nonetheless, if I look at Jungian psychology, I have to acknowledge that it takes that in order for change to happen.
Yeah, that's quite a positive way to look at it.
What about in astrology? The last couple of years, the U.S.A. chart has been going through its Chiron return. So they took the 4th of July 76, July 4, 76, and that chart, the transits today, the Chiron return is the wound, and that would relate back to the Watergate. During that period was the last Chiron return, Watergate.
Mm-hmm.
The Watergate thing with the
that was 68.
Nixon. 1973 Vietnam War.
72. It was 72.
Yeah,
when Watergate took place.
Yeah, and the winding down of the Vietnam War winding down.
Yeah.
And that would have been equate to the Chiron return and the cultural backdrop. Trust by the summer of 73, trust in government was collapsing. The presidency itself was under scrutiny. The Watergate hearings were dominant topic of conversation.
Yeah.
The feeling was one of disbelief, anger, and disillusionment, but also a sense of the democratic system was being tested and might ultimately hold the powerful accountable. That was so. It's interesting. The Chiron, U.S. Chiron return was 73 to 74. It's a 50-year cycle.
And as well, you can feel it in your guts. There's got to be a change in the way the human beings are running this planet.
Yeah.
Things are not
it's not only the United States, it's the whole world.
It's the whole world. We've normalized war.
Yeah.
That is sick. It's time for these things to finish and change.
Yeah.
The climate is struggling. We're using up all the natural resources. There's got to be a massive something big is going to happen.
I hope aliens land. I hope that thing lands.
I'm really hoping.
I'm afraid we're the aliens.
Love that,
Penelope. I'm afraid we're the aliens, but
I'm hoping that's going to be an alien.
That would show them they're not God. That's one way out of it, because then it's like, well, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
What would they do?
Well, so there is change coming.
Good.
I mean, we see signs of it every day now in the U.S. And I mean, even our president in Japan the last couple of days, he's basically collapsing as a human being. He's dying, and it's quite evident. Well,
is he meeting the new prime minister?
What?
Of Japan, the woman who was elected. He's meeting with her? Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
he met with her, but he was walking across the stage and he was just lost. He had to have an aide come and actually hold his hand on stage in public. Yeah. And point.
thing, because all of so do you think that we need, like, I'm just asking Skip, but do you think we need like a generation of maybe 60-year-olds in power at this time? Or what do you think?
Oh, I want younger than that. I want 40-year-olds.
Okay.
Because very honestly, my class, the class of 68, has dominated American politics for over 40 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Or, well, at least for 30 years. Okay. For example, the chiefs of naval operations, 5 of them in a row were from the class of 68. Donald Trump is from the class of 68. Bill Clinton was the class of 68. Right?
Yeah, and I think
George
actually,
W. Bush was class of 68.
Yeah.
So that generation, my generation, has got to be finished.
I agree. And then I
Okay,
think
I mean,
actually the 60-year-olds now, like, I just want to chill out and do my art and be left alone.
that's right. And
I want to
so
be like,
60-year-olds should. We need younger people who have a
yeah.
younger perspective.
I think a lot of young people don't want to play the game. I don't think they want to engage in this capitalist endeavor.
Well, now we do have this fellow Mandami in New York, and he's 33, and I think he's going to win the mayoralty of New York in a few weeks here. He's going to
Is that
become
the
mayor
age
of
of
New
your
York.
son, Diane? Diane, how old's your son? Your son
34.
is 34. He could run for office then.
Yeah.
Sure, easily. In another year, he'll be old enough to run for president.
And how old is Vance now? I don't remember.
You've got to
Well,
be 50, 45, maybe.
no, I think he's just about 40.
Okay.
Right. But I mean, nobody's going to want Vance.
Well, but if something happens to Donald Trump, he will become president.
He will become president, but I don't think he's going to stay president. I agree with you that he will become president, but
Anything will be better than Trump.
yeah, he's a nothing though. I mean, J.D. Vance is a nothing. He's not an accomplished man. Okay, he got lucky and wrote a novel that got
I know.
made into
I
a movie.
agree. I don't. He will be also run by that guy. What's his name that wrote
Yeah,
to?
I know
Yeah. What they call it. I've forgotten.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, I'm feeling my age.
The people who are really running things, we don't even know who they are.
We don't even
That's
know
right.
We don't see them.
Yeah, it's certainly not Donald Trump.
No.
I mean, in his meetings that you see on camera these days, he's not animated at all. I mean, he can read from a teleprompter, but even when Musk was going to the White House all the times, Musk was doing all the talking. He was just sitting there passively.
They don't look, these people that govern us, they don't look like they're doing very well. In this country, they're really not doing very well. I look at Keir Starmer. He looks like he's bumbling his way along. King Charles, he's just every day they're like dealing with some new catastrophe. They're just not dealing. They're just not, and they're not even able to have any stable. Like they're changing all the time so quickly.
Yeah.
To me, it's like there's change coming. I don't know what it will be, but it just looks.
Well, I mean, this new generation that's coming along in the United States, the guys that are, believe it or not, 25 to 30 years old, those are the guys. Okay, there's David Hogg, and there's the congressman from Florida, Max something, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember his last name, but there was a black congressman that was elected. He was just barely old enough.
Okay. And they shine, do they? They've got something
Yeah,
about them.
there's no doubt that they know what they're doing.
I've not
And
seen a lot of that in this country. In UK,
yeah,
all our MPs are getting done for fraud, all kinds of awful things. So much cronyism going on.
yeah,
Angie, yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean, Penelope? You can see it, can't you?
I know,
yeah,
and this digital ID, Tony Blair's son has been given the
All
rights
cronyism.
to set up the infrastructure system. They're all doing backhanders. They're all tossers. Excuse
Yeah.
my language.
So
yeah,
that says to me it's going to change. They won't be able to carry on like that, and they're trying to quickly make hay while the sun
Yeah.
shines.
And they
yeah,
haven't got the infrastructure for all of this. And
yeah,
if there was a blackout or something like a Carrington event, we'd all be
Oh, go. Yeah.
screwed.
yeah.
Like,
And these guys, you have to realize that okay, we've got 2,000 new billionaires in the world. Okay, before 2008, there were 700 billionaires, and now there's 2,500 or something, or almost 3,000 billionaires.
There's
That's
been
a
a lot of
million.
opportunity to make money
a lot of them
more.
made money out of COVID. You know, a lot of them
COVID
made
and
money
war.
out of trading that time. And
Yeah,
Totally.
also the
War always
and
generates a lot of
yeah,
money.
but here's the thing: you can't. Where are you going to spend that money,
They
you
don't
right?
want
can't.
it.
Okay, you have a billion little green
AI.
electrons.
Yeah,
They're
AI,
spending it
that's
on
where it's
AI.
going. They're
Well,
Yeah.
buying
but
AI stocks and shares.
yeah,
Well,
I mean they're
they're
betting it
building these infrastructures for AI that are going to pollute. You
right.
know,
Yeah.
Sure, that's right.
we have to. They want us to set up a warning when the grid's going out around here now.
Yeah,
Wow. The
yeah,
grid's going out around you, Diane. The grid.
Well, I mean, here in Houston, there was wanting us to get on some kind of a
Meter.
email list or whatever
Yeah.
if the
yeah.
grid's
Because
going.
Been doing
well,
the
the
same here.
Republicans took Texas off the grid,
Yeah.
right? You're not on the electrical grid of the rest of the country. So if something
No.
bad
Well,
happens
that's been a long, yeah, that's I think our own politicians who did that.
yeah, that's right. So, I mean, those people that do that kind of stuff, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. They've done it already. I mean, with Texas, you've been off the grid, and sometimes if it snows too much or you have too much rain, all of a
Both
sudden,
Bezos and Musk have their rockets, their spaceships here.
yeah,
And so they're going to have all kinds of AI facilities, I'm sure. That's coming.
They'll be
That's all
stealing
coming.
all the
where are they
electricity.
going to get the electricity though?
Yeah, they'll steal it from the people.
They're using natural gas
Okay.
Okay.
and coal.
Mhm.
Wow. I had no idea.
So what's going to happen to the climate then?
Yeah.
My husband says they'll figure out a way.
Yeah, well, that's what human
What they're
beings
expecting is
when
AI to figure out a way to do it. That,
They'll use AI to do the
well,
project.
what
yes.
human beings do is we wait until things get bad enough and then we change. And that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And but going to be a lot of suffering. That's the
Yeah, there's
problem.
going to be a lot of suffering because that's the way it's always been. As
Oh,
Paul Simon said, that's the
Well,
way it's always been. That's the way I like it. That's how I want it to be.
there's a song. That's the way. Come on, I like it. Come on. That's the way. Do you know that song?
Yeah,
that's what he's singing. That's what he was singing. Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
I want to
But
Well,
read
the
she
you.
Paul
sang it
Simon
much
song
better.
starts with there's a frog in South America whose venom is the cure to all the ills mankind can endure, mankind endures. And but we're making that frog extinct, right? I mean, that's the essence of the song. But then He
Yeah,
goes,
well, that's us. We're the frogs in the water, and it's starting to boil, and
right.
we haven't figured it out yet.
I know. Well, maybe AI can figure it out. Who knows?
Hmm.
You can
The
ask it.
question
I'll
is,
ask it.
will AI
I'll ask it.
give us any of the power after it figures it out?
Well, there's a woman who wrote a book. I forgot. She was on GPS. Zakaria on
Yeah,
CNN.
Free
Yeah,
Zakaria, yeah.
and she said that and not just for other people that I've heard on there, it's just going to be a big bubble like the internet bubble, back in what year was that?
2000,
Yeah,
2001.
2000.
Yeah.
And that's not that long ago. We didn't learn anything from that.
Well, we got a lot of bubbles since then. Yeah. But yeah.
Gosh, I had a
Anyway,
really
we're changing day to daylight savings time
Yeah,
this
that's right, on
Saturday.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
So
we changed
next,
this week, so that
Yeah, you
we had to come
changed
an hour
already.
earlier this week.
yeah.
Yeah, but it'll be normal next week.
Back to 10 o'clock.
But it's gonna be
Even
harder.
though
Next week I won't be able to go for my walk. I'll stay
Okay,
through.
I'm gonna
But
have to go out for a minute. I'll be back.
Okay.
So can
but this
I say about I had an amazing dream a couple of nights ago that really had an impact on me, and it really related to what we was reading. It was one of those really realistic dreams, and I was on like the side of a hill, and as I looked across, it was like looking across the tundra. It was frozen. So this is like my inner landscape. It was like a frozen land. And then I looked over my shoulder behind me, and there was a wolf just sitting there, still at peace. And
Wow.
just behind me, looking as well. But I could feel the panic of, oh my God, like that frozen landscape. But the wolf was just observing. And I thought, gosh, isn't that just the nature of a wolf? It was just waiting.
They're powerful, aren't they?
Oh
Creatures.
my gosh, I really, do you know it? I felt like that wolf is with us. I think there's something about us doing this book. I think we've woken up our inner wolves. I think we've,
well, I've
believe
had a
that's a
dream
good thing.
about a wolf as well in a cave with a woman gathering the bones.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
oh
Wow.
gosh,
You had a
But
dream, Mary. You had a
yeah,
dream.
the wolf was standing at the right hand side of the cave, looking down at the woman gathering the bones inside in the cave. And he was kind of looking down in a protective kind of way,
this was a
watching
male wolf.
over.
This was a male. Yours was a male
It was,
wolf.
it was a male wolf.
Oh my word.
Oh,
He was so powerful. And I've been painting him since. I can't
Mm.
stop painting him.
When
Gosh,
did you have the
cool.
dream, Mary?
It was a week ago.
Oh, wow.
Um,
G2. Wow.
and the wolf was just, it was so powerful. And then I had a follow-up dream where the wolf was in my bed asleep.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
oh my
oh.
gosh.
Did that feel comfortable? Did
It
that feel
felt
comfortable?
so, it's just like, it's okay. I don't need, the feeling I got from the dream was that I didn't need to be in the external watching the predator anymore.
Oh, the
That
wolf
I
was
had,
taking care.
yeah,
Yeah.
Your
Oh,
inner wolf,
oh
your
yeah,
animus.
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so next week though, we're going to be an
Yeah,
hour earlier. Okay, from what, if you're in Europe, if your time doesn't fall
No, it's normal
back,
for us because
They've
we were.
already changed theirs.
We've already changed ours on Sunday.
Okay, but we're changing ours on Saturday. So what I'm saying is whatever you are now, it's going to be an hour earlier.
It'll just be normal. It'll be 10 p.m. What about Matt's? What it
And
changed
it
for
was
you?
1 hour earlier for me already.
Yeah.
But I
Oh,
missed this. I want to listen. Do you have a tape I can you give
Recording.
me? I'm so sorry I missed it. I
Oh,
Yeah,
can't stand it. Do you have the recording?
I do have the recordings. I'm going to have to put them
late. Oh,
up though.
Yes, you have to send it
Yeah,
to me. I
I
can't.
know.
I don't need
I'm
it.
so. Oh,
I will start to do that. I promise.
It's too much, Skip. I think it's just for Eva, just for this one time
yeah,
to
don't worry, Skip. You're very so busy at the moment.
just one, yeah, just for Eva, maybe.
Well,
Eva.
I'm going to have to be at this workstation for the most of the weekend, so it's no big deal for me to upload things. So I'll see if I can go back to the beginning of Women Who Run with the Wolves at least, and start uploading them. Because it can
yes.
just run in the background.
I think this would be very interesting for the
Don't
right
upload,
people.
yeah,
To
not to
listen to.
YouTube because some of the
Yeah,
things we're
yes.
saying we could get arrested.
For what? Why
Talking
would we
about a
get
lot of politics tonight.
in
I
London,
know.
people are getting arrested for all kinds of
They are
stuff
just
on
little
this.
things. It's getting really bad here.
I like
Somehow
you.
I don't think
You,
we're going to seem a threat.
well, you have to overpower them. We have to just have more and more people so they can.
Well, we should do if I start publishing Women Who Run with the Wolves, our discussions
Yeah,
about Women Who
yeah,
Run with the Wolves,
yes,
we'll get lots more people. So
yes. And
so
I think people it has changed this personal thing, and not this kind of totally stylish. People are tired about the stylish, too much stylish.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. And so we're genuine.
Yeah,
yes.
We come across as genuine and real.
we are.
Genuine
I
Swedish.
know with my Sunday group, I mean, I have people in my Sunday group that have been coming for nearly 10 years now on Sunday mornings. And they just are there every week. And, one of them has cerebral palsy, so he's been handicapped since birth. He's the first one there every week. Every week. His name's Art Patterson. And, he can do almost nothing for himself, but he can pay attention to the
Oh, that's hard.
yeah.
Enjoys
And I cannot understand him when he's speaking. I mean, he came on a few times, and it's very hard to understand him when he's trying to communicate the way we communicate. But he's very good with his keyboard, and he can communicate with his keyboard, and so he does, and so he doesn't come on so you can see him. He's a black man. And he doesn't come on so you can see him, but he's very articulate in his writing and so on. So, I mean, there are so many stories. I mean, besides here, I'm becoming a counselor to everybody in the school. I'll show you just to give you an appreciation. I don't know. Did I show you this picture last week? I'm not sure. There's one picture that my colleagues took. Let me see if I have it real quick here. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, so this is an amazing picture. And it just really touches me to my core. There you go.
What's his name?
Well, I'm not at liberty to say, but I'm not gonna
He's
say.
very fixed on you.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a really,
Mhm.
he's really with you there, isn't he? You can see he's
So
looking. Oh,
he's not even on my caseload. He's
oh,
on
wow.
one of my colleagues' caseloads, but he's kind of adopted me,
Good.
and he basically comes in for water and some chips. That's what he thinks he wants, but then he sits down there and wants to talk to me.
Good.
Wow.
And so I was just so pleased when I saw that picture. I said, "Oh my God!" You
Yeah.
know, next year for my portrait by Tim, I'll have to have him paint the back of my head so he paints that picture for me. Because that's like my greatest accomplishment this year is to have that.
Well, I can't wait till next week to read The Key to Knowing. The Key to Knowing.
The importance of
So-
snuffling.
At what time will
Like the wolf, huh?
it start?
I guess. Yeah, well, so we'll know
You
more
have my
next.
book. You have the same version I have.
Got that one, yeah.
Because all of our pages are not exactly the same.
Right.
You know, when
Yeah. No, I do know.
yeah, we all have a different version.
Right.
Yeah, yours is
and I think Ava
and
has it
Ava's
in
is
Swedish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ava's is Swedish.
Yeah, and
Well,
we have it in
I'm going for
Portuguese.
my walk.
goodness, just
Okay,
great.
peace. Take
Bye.
care. I will
At what-
try to publish some of this on
At what-
YouTube, Ava,
Oh.
for
At what
you
time will
especially.
Thank
we?
you, thank you.
At what time will we start next week?
Well, it's going to be an hour earlier than this time, unless your time changes
Did
in
your
the
time
next week.
change? Did your time change, Matt, say for the last week?
No.
It's the same time then. Are your clocks changing in next week? Are your clocks changing or are they remaining?
It's not.
Do
It's
you ever
remaining the same.
So if you've come an hour early tonight, then you just come an hour.
earlier?
So I
'Cause we're
will
gonna-
be.
Whatever
I
the
will be
normal
at-
time was. Well, I don't know anymore.
I will be at work. I will be a little late because I come home after I don't know what time will it be there, but
Okay.
it's 5:30 p.m. when I
Now?
leave work. No,
Or when you
I
leave
leave
work?
Yes.
Okay.
What
Well,
time is it there now?
Right now it is 7:53, almost 8.
okay. Well, it'll be 1 hour earlier. for
So
you.
I will miss a little bit of the meeting, but I'll
Okay. Be here. Okay. Don't miss
Okay.
it. Okay,
Yeah,
and
I will.
I'll start to put these up. I ought to be also putting up Mysterium Conjunctionis, for example. We have 45. I think we have 45 sessions that were on Mysterium Conjunctionis, and I forget how many, but like 30 more for Ion, and another 20 or 30 for Answer to Job, which we did earlier. And I have all those recordings, but I've never put them online.
Yeah. That would be good to do. And Mary, will you show us your wolves next week?
I will. Yeah.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So Ava,
Oh,
if I'm able to get some of this up, I will let you know. Ava.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Just concentrate on one for now, Skip, because
Yeah,
it's too much.
don't look for it before Saturday though, because
Just
there's
do
no
one.
way.
Skip, don't
Okay.
overload yourself. Just do one for now for Ava.
Okay, but don't expect anything before Saturday. I'll do what I can. Okay. All right. Peace.
Okay.
I'm
Catch you
gonna
later.
drop
Bye-bye.
out.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Have a nice week. Bye.